He took his pants down, penetrated me, had sex with me. He then stopped before ejaculation. I was held down by the men as they each took turns to orally and vaginally rape me. Our Rape Gang Inquiry report will be released in the coming days. It will change Britain for good. Thank you.
Stay with me because the full video I'm about to show you puts everything into a new perspective. Right, so picture this. It's a Tuesday afternoon in the British Parliament, a place so prestigious, so venerable, so thoroughly British that you'd expect the most pressing debate of the day to be about biscuit selection in the members' tea room. Perhaps a heated row about whether a hobnob outranks a digestive in the national hierarchy of snacks. Maybe a passionate intervention on the correct temperature at which Earl Grey should be served. Instead, what happened was something far more serious, far more uncomfortable, and frankly, something that a great many people in power would have preferred to quietly sweep under one of those very expensive parliamentary carpets. Rupert Lowe, the MP for Great Yarmouth, stood up in the House of Commons and did something that politicians in this country have historically been rather allergic to doing. He read the truth out loud. Not a carefully curated press release, not a focus-grouped soundbite engineered by a communications team earning more than a nurse. He read direct testimony from survivors of grooming gang abuse, word for word, into the parliamentary record so that it could never be unsaid, so that Hansard, the official transcript of everything spoken in Parliament, would carry these women's words forever, stitched permanently into the fabric of British democratic history. Real quick before we roll the footage, if you're enjoying this content, do me a huge favour. Hit that like button and smash subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. Don't be one of them. It's free for you and it helps us out more than you know. Already clicked? You're awesome. Let's get into the video.
Firstly, I would like to thank the 260,974 British men and women who signed the petition to make this debate possible. And I want to welcome these brave survivors who are sitting behind us in the hall. This debate is about them. As you quite rightly say, it's not about politics. I want the world to hear what we heard during the 2 weeks of our independent rape gang inquiry hearings, an inquiry that should never have needed to happen. I sincerely urge this Parliament to listen to the testimonies from these brave survivors and to act, to finally act. So the first testimony, he took his pants down, penetrated me, had sex with me. He then stopped before ejaculation. He picked up the bottle of Jack Daniels, which was now empty, and he forced it up inside me. He broke the glass while he was there. At that point, I was about 12, nearly 13. Another testimony. I was held down by the men as they each took turns to orally and vaginally rape me, taking it in turns to pin down my arms and my legs. When the assault ended, the men hit me repeatedly, threatened to find me, kill me, and harmed my loved ones if I ever told anybody what had happened. Another. Comments were constantly made suggesting that white girls, the Christian girls, were viewed as having fewer morals or lower values, whereas Muslim girls were described by some of the men as having dignity and higher moral standing. These comparisons were used to justify the way I was treated and to further humiliate and control me. Another. She was a white woman herself, who I imagine may have been groomed, and has obviously now married into the family, shouting obscenities at us. Throughout the whole sentencing, she was constantly saying, "Fucking liars, lying white bitches." She said to me that God will be the witness for what happens to me. Another. Race did play a part and motivated the selection or demographic of the victims. Throughout my exploitation, the other girls I encountered, or who were abused alongside me, were almost exclusively white. Another, she had a baby by him, and his dad was an imam. His dad knew, and he got his son married and said that he wasn't allowed to see the child. They look after their own community. Another. Over the course of the abuse, I was raped by multiple police officers in different parts of the country. Another, he put a cigarette out on the baby's face. Another, it started when I was 13. I was raped by probably about 600 or 700 different men over 3 years. Another, they would toot the horn of the car and then a child would be taken to the front door by a staff member of the children's home. Another, I was bleeding from both my vagina and my back passage and was so swollen I could not sit down. I told hospital staff my drink had been spiked and I did not know what had happened because I was too afraid to tell the truth. They did not ask any questions. They gave me tablets and discharged me. I was 15 years old. Another, things would escalate around Eid and holidays. Parties got bigger, got worse, got more violent. More people involved, more girls involved. The parties were just bigger. Another, the main clash that I kind of had with the religion side of it was I grew up as a Christian. I would wear my cross because it was something really special to me. It was just used as a way to break me down. They said, "Where is your God now? Has your God forsaken you?" Another, it was all of the white girls in every home that I went to. I remember a man opening the back of a van and I saw 15, 20 girls locked in dog cages. Another, dogs were brought in and I couldn't move at all. I had nowhere to move. I think that was the scariest thing, was not having any concept of it. There were men around me, not horrified, not disgusted, not helping, but filming and laughing, making bets on whether the dog could actually rape me or not. And yes, I was raped by a dog. The man just held my face, stared me down straight in the eyes, and he wanted to see me break, and he did. Another, I just want it to stop and not happen to any other children, and for people to actually act, to do something and stop being so scared. I could continue for hours and hours. All of us in this building have a responsibility to finally act. Not to talk, but to act. Our Rape Gang Inquiry report will be released in the coming days. It will change Britain for good. Thank you.
Now, before he even got to the testimonies, Lowe acknowledged something important. He thanked the 260,974 people, British men and women, who had signed the petition that made this debate possible in the first place. Just think about that number for a second. Over 250,000 people felt so unheard, so frustrated by the pace of institutional response that they had to petition their own parliament just to get the subject discussed. Not acted upon, not investigated to the fullest extent, just discussed. That is the state of things. And those brave survivors were there in the public gallery, sitting behind the MPs as Lowe spoke. This wasn't abstract. This wasn't a policy paper or a statistical briefing. These were real women watching a politician finally stand up and refuse to treat their suffering as politically inconvenient. The testimonies he read were harrowing. I won't repeat them here in full, but what emerged from them was a picture of systematic, organised and in many cases racially motivated abuse carried out over years in multiple cities against girls as young as 12 and 13. Girls who were failed by care homes, failed by hospitals, failed by police and failed by institutions that were supposed to protect them. One survivor described being discharged from hospital at 15 after an assault, given tablets, asked no questions, sent home. Another described abuse that escalated around religious holidays, the violence growing in scale as more perpetrators became involved. Another described being told that as a white Christian girl, she was considered to have fewer morals, less dignity, a justification her abusers used to dehumanize her.
What makes this parliamentary moment so significant is not just the content, it's the context. For years, and I mean years, this subject has been treated like a live grenade in British political discourse. Anyone who raised it too loudly risked being accused of having ulterior motives. Nuance got weaponised by people on all sides to avoid actually doing anything. Inquiries were called for, debated, delayed, deferred. The word inquiry itself started to feel less like a promise of accountability and more like a way of making a problem disappear into a committee room for a decade. Lowe's independent rape gang inquiry had already held 2 weeks of hearings, 2 weeks of listening to testimony that, as he put it, should never have needed a separate inquiry to surface, because it should have been acted on long before now. His report was, at the time of this debate, days away from publication. He stated plainly that it would change Britain for good. Whether you agree with Rupert Lowe's politics on any other issue is entirely beside the point. What matters here is that a group of survivors finally had their words spoken in the chamber that is supposed to represent them. Not filtered, not softened, not managed, and the very last testimony Lowe quoted said it all. I just wanted it to stop and for people to actually act, to do something, and stop being so scared. That one line from a survivor in Parliament should make every single person in this country, politician or not, sit down, be quiet and ask themselves what they have actually done.